This is how I feel about vibe coding. Any project that has any kind of complication has this immediate burst of progress. Things are amazing and it feels like a superpower. Then, as I add more complexity, things crash to a halt. The only two projects that I think I can create are ones that fall in this vibe zone. Prototypes, UIs, products, anything that's simple and has low complexity fits right in that zone. And he's talking about a graph I'll show you in just a sec. Proof of concepts, interactions, stuff like that. The vibe zone he's referring to comes from this graph right here. So he illustrates here how his happiness and his progress decline as the complexity of the project increases. The vibe zone seems to be the area where the tools currently are able to operate the best in. I'll also note here that this guy is primarily a designer, which is key since the VC marketing around vibe tools is that they make programmers obsolete. Everything falls to pieces as that complexity curve increases. And the problem is that any good product design process has increasing complexity. A basic prototype turns into a good prototype as soon as it has layered interactions, transitions, good affordances, hover states, 1,000 tiny little details that make something feel correct and real. Prototyping a modern front end in real time with all the goop, libraries, and packages involved in development sounds like a complexity nightmare for an AI tool. And that's just the front end. Imagine then dealing with back-end only scenarios where your feedback loop is just a CLI. You may say with all that to just get an engineer to do the work then. And to that, I would say, gotcha. The benefit of vibe coding is supposed to be that you move fast and you can whip things out, letting AI do all the work for you. The problem is it loses steam as soon as the necessary complexity is added. It keeps redoing itself, rewriting code, affecting things that are unrelated and then causing other issues. But if you add that complexity, every vibe coding session quickly turns into a whack-a-mole bug bashing session. Shipping software, maintaining it, and gradually adding it requires an engineer to be aware of and work within various levels of complexity, especially as the software ages. A few lines of code or a poorly executed pattern can break everything. I'm not sure the solution to this. With traditional prototyping, the solution is to duplicate, add more complexity, create more frame scenes, tweak, fork, etc. However, with vibe coding, one little prompt can destroy literally everything. There is a stage where I end up walking on prompt eggshells, trying not to give it too much or too little context so that it doesn't go rogue and break everything. To put it in AI terms, to work with complex software, a software engineer must seemingly have an unmeasurable context window. I mean, sometimes the one line of code your team changes has more to do with your understanding of the business your software is for, rather than the logic confined to your code base. How do you even communicate that understanding via a prompt? What's crazy is that he's just trying to get a front-end prototype to work. Also, to be more balanced, it's worth noting that he states that cursor and framer are relatively useful for his prototyping needs, but finds cursor tougher to use because it's effectively a developer tool. Also to note, some of the tools he seems to be giving feedback on are based on Figma and Lovable, to name a few. He then shows us some projects that he's been working on. Here's a quick example. I thought this was going to be a very basic thing. It's a Tinder swipe style UI for 1,000 movies that you have to see before you die. So essentially it's a swiping app. I wanted to hook it up for myself to an API that has free access to bring in movie posters and other metadata. Was I able to get it to work? No, because the last 10 prompts I've been trying to figure out why it won't pull the image and metadata from the API. This isn't that hard of a thing. I don't know why it won't work. I've checked out my API credentials, their API documentation, everything. It should work, but it doesn't. Tiny complexity, total fail. And then here he shows the app not working with an error up here. And this one's interesting too. He says, another example just this morning, I'm trying to make this new map style with cool 3JS library that I and this other creator created to show a basic globe with the country labels. I've pictured a globe being the correct way to represent this for a long time. Thought it'd be cool to use this as a proof of concept, but after an hour or so, this was where I'm at. It's junk. Will take longer for me to bang my head against the wall to make this usable than it would be for me to just design it and say, imagine that it spins. guess if you really want to go with no code, you could definitely be using people's imagination to take advantage of that. And then there's one comment that I wanted to highlight here in particular that stood out to me. Do you think better LLMs will just solve the complexity curve as they get better? It doesn't feel like the complexity grows linearly. It feels like it grows polynomially or exponentially. And this is a very true observation. As I've alluded in the video, software, as you add onto it, as you work on it, the complexity is only going to increase. So is definitely an interesting technical problem that a lot of the engineers that are working on these tools will have to take a look at and work hard to solve. What are your thoughts on vibe coding? I'm interested to read what you have to say. If you're a tech professional looking to land a new job, book a consultation with me, linked below, and get more interviews, even in today's tough job market. This year, I helped one client land their first tech job, and I helped another get a pay raise. If you're looking to learn the job hunting strategy that I teach my students for free, or you're a DIY kind of guy, please make sure to watch this video right here. Other than that, thank you for watching, and I will see you on the next one. Bye-bye.